This is what you can do about your health. A podcast about how you can make your body healthy, strong, fit, and inhospitable to disease. I'm Sean McClendon. I'm your host. I am a certified personal trainer, an author, and a health and fitness enthusiast. Thank you for joining me today. The information on this podcast is based on personal research, experience, and opinion, and is not meant to be a substitute for advice from a doctor or physician. You are advised to consult your doctor or physician before making any changes to your lifestyle. Before we get into the subject of this podcast, the topic I'm going to introduce when we get there, my featured product or products, if you will, are my Lean and Tone online fitness challenge, as well as my Body Revolution health and fitness coaching. The Lean and Tone online fitness challenge I have has a library of workouts, body weight exercise routines that take no more than 10 to 15 minutes of your time, that you can do in your own home, or you can do them in a gym, wherever you want to do them. But it also includes the goal, rather, of the Lean and Tone online fitness challenge is to help you to lean and tone, to get in shape, to have to kind of get the confusion out of it, to give you an exercise routine, a way of eating that's going to help you to make the most of your exercise routine and help you develop that consistency that's so important. This is meant for those who can get a program and go on and stick with it. So that's what that program is meant for. You can go to patreon.com/Sean B2B Fitness. And then you have my Body Revolution health and fitness coaching, which is the next level up. And it includes weekly coaching. It's a small group, and it includes weekly coaching from myself, along with the exercise library, along with the lean and tone, the fat loss workbook, 8 weeks to transform your body and your health, that you've heard me talk about here. But anyhow, if you go to patreon.com/Sean B2B Fitness, you can find more information on both of those. All right, let's get into this episode, man. So this is something that's kind of been on my heart for like the past, really for years, but specifically probably within the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even four. Anyhow, you know, we got a lot of people out here, myself included, probably, who have very specific health and fitness goals. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you want to tone your, I don't know, your triceps or your glutes or something like that, thighs. Maybe you're somebody who just wants to generally eat better. And all that stuff is great. Matter of fact, I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to set a goal. However, once you set a goal, I encourage you to take that goal and put it on the shelf. In other words, what I mean is forget the goal for a bit. Don't totally forget it, but what I mean is after you set the goal is something that you're going to put on the shelf, and then you're going to get into the habit or habits of doing the things that'll help you reach the goal, which is the most important part. The habits you develop, the process it takes to get there is the most important part. Now, again, setting goals is good, but one thing that happens is that sometimes we set a goal and we get on the way to doing it, but then we kind of wonder, am I actually doing something to help me reach my goal? And so we kind of get worked up and we change and change and change. And the goal seems more and more insurmountable, more and more unreachable. And then ultimately we give up, and then we just kind of, at best, we develop a habit of inconsistency, a habit of breaking our routine, a habit of not being consistent. The most important thing for you when it comes to reaching whatever your health and fitness goals are is you being consistent. That is the most important thing. And why is that? The reason why is because if you think about your life, your body, your educational goals, perhaps, your relationships, everything, your mindset, all of that stuff has been developed by whatever it is that you consistently do or whatever it is that you are consistently exposed to. Period. Period. When I graduated from college, really all that was a culmination of the work I'd done all the way from kindergarten through high school through college. I had a lot of math that I took in college because my degree program of study was engineering, but it was the math in grade school that prepped me for that. Just consistently going from grade to grade to grade, learning and building, learning and building. You may have graduated from high school and or college, boot camp. It's all the same. It all builds on each other. But some kind of way, I think it's because it's so simple. Some kind of way, we forget that the process is the most important part. Because, this is why I believe it is, and this is based on just my own experience. I believe it's because we want the goals so bad, and because our society has conditioned us to wanting everything instantly, not wanting to put in any sort of work for the result. You know, to be honest, is why a lot of shortcuts, fitness shortcuts, are so popular these days. Fat burners and all this kind of stuff. I'm not condemning you if you've done anything like that. Trust me, I'm not. I'm just kind of making a point, just to observe the way things work in our society. That's why a lot of these shortcuts that purport to give you the results you want for less effort, that's why they're so popular, because we get so fixated on the goal that we want that we get to the point where we're willing to like shortcut the process, which this is probably a subject for another podcast. If you look at the shortcuts and you see the end result or even the long-term result, the shortcuts to health and fitness goals almost always come with some sort of other cost, some sort of other price you have to pay that in reality you probably don't really want. But anyway, I digress. So back when I was 22, 23 years old, so over 10 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do only body weight exercise. I wanted that to be my main focus. Body weight exercises like calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, variations of those, squats, lunges, et cetera, et cetera. I like weights, but I just wanted to do that because I saw people building impressive physiques with body weight alone. And when you train your body with your body weight, you're not restricted as far as like where you work out. You don't need a gym. You can work out in a gym, you can work out at home, you can work out outside, wherever. When I started doing that stuff, I was only able to do one or two terrible looking pull-ups. I'm talking about terrible. Range of motion was horrible, struggling, shaking, looking crazy. I got to the point where I was able to do 23 straight underhand. Good form, coming almost all the way down. 23 straight. 2018, I dislocated my shoulder, as many of you know. And that kind of put me on the sidelines for a bit. But fast forward to now, like even actually literally this morning, I did 19. So I'm kind of in the ballpark of where I was before. That came from years and years of doing pull-ups, chin-ups and pull-ups. Years. When I was doing that stuff, I only set the goal of being able to master my body weight kind of generally. And then what I did is I put together for myself a little program where I was literally working on my pull-ups at least 3 days a week. At least 3 days a week, every week for months and months and months and months. What happens is when you're consistent like that, your body adjusts to those things. It adjusts to the things that you consistently do. If you do it one time, if you go to an exercise class one time, that's not going to make any difference. It's not. It's not going to make any difference. Your body has no reason to change for that. But whenever you keep on doing it, your body's like, okay, this is something that we actually need to prepare for. This is something that we need to adjust for because this is something that we do. So I set a broad goal, but then I locked in to the process. So much so that almost in a sense I forgot about my goal because I was so focused on just doing whatever. I was being the type of person who gets high reps on pull-ups. I was being that type of person. And so there was no surprise that sometime later on in the future, I was getting lots and lots of reps. And people would ask me, man, how'd you do that? It's not really any secrets. The only thing that really the thing that distinguishes one person from another person with fitness and health and whatnot is where one person fizzles out because they get distracted or they don't really want to put in the work versus another person who just locks in. Now you might ask, but how do you know how to get started? You set a goal and then you wanting to kind of just focus on the process, but how do you know where to get started in the process? My answer to that is it doesn't really matter where you get started. It more so matters where that you start. And I know that's cliche these days, but the reason why, maybe the reason why it resonates so much is because there's still so few people who do that, or so few people who get that. Again, when I had my goal of pull-ups and all that kind of stuff, then I set me a little routine. It was like a circuit that I was doing where I would have to get a certain amount of pull-ups in for a workout. And I would do that same circuit, the same circuit. And I would actually the only thing that I did was that I would add a rep every week because I figured maybe my body would adapt to that. So I did that same circuit for weeks and weeks. So I just started somewhere. I wasn't the thing that kept me from getting results prior to that time was the fact that I was writing up a new workout program like literally every week or two. Because what happened was I would go to back in the day, college days. I was still living with my parents, me and my twin brother. Went to college at the same time, and we would on weekends. My mom and dad would go to Barnes and Noble, the bookstore, and so a lot of times my brother and I, we were into fitness, so we would go to the periodicals, the magazines, and all that kind of stuff, and we'd look at all the muscle magazines. You see the exercise routine of Ronnie Coleman or Lee Priest or you know, all those guys. Um Gunther Slurkamp, I don't know how you say that guy's name, but you would see their workout routines. And so I would see what they were doing. It's like, maybe I need to change up what I was doing. Maybe I need to change up what I was doing. Not thinking about the fact that for now, and obviously they have to do some other things to get to those that massive poundage of muscle. But anyway, aside from that though, for them to get those kind of results, they had to have been doing that stuff for a long, long time. Probably, I'm sure they started teenage years and were just lifting and lifting and lifting and lifting. But I would change my routine up every couple of weeks because I kept on reading stuff that would have me thinking that I wasn't doing the right thing. But don't worry about that. I'm telling you, part of the reason why a lot of us we're having so many issues with health and fitness, especially for those who are actually trying to do certain things, they're trying to implement actions, is because there's so much information out there. This is where information overload occurs. So because it's too many possible ways to start, and you don't need to worry about that. Just pick one and just do it again and again and again. Something you can do again and again. Again. And this is why, and I say this almost every episode, this is why I often recommend people who start out with me doing coaching or whatever, or just asking me for advice. I always recommend that they get started walking like 5 minutes a day, because It's the consistency that's going to start changing you. And if you can develop into the type of person who consistently does stuff, then wherever it is you're wanting to go, you're going to get there at some point. But you're going to stop wasting your time not getting started, because a lot of times we get so caught up and so confused with like a squirrel that's trying to figure out, should I go this way across the road or that way? I don't know, and the car is steady approaching. It's more important that you pick one direction and get your butt off the road, man. You know? So set your goal, set a lofty goal. It doesn't have to be a lofty goal, but just set a goal. Once you do that, what I encourage you to do is get started. Understand what this type of person does. A person who is at such and such ideal weight, um, is active for an hour a day. So you may not necessarily do that at first, but you might start out, okay, I'm gonna walk 5 minutes a day this week. Then I'm gonna go up to 6 next week, then the 7 the following week, then the 8 the following week. And I'm just gonna consistently add a minute every single week. That's all I'm gonna think about. Once you get to 60 minutes a day of walking, do you think that your body would be changed? If you nodded your head, yes, I'm nodding with you. I think so too. Matter of fact, I know it would. Yes, you need to adjust your diet. Yes, you need to get good sleep, all that kind of stuff. But if you just get started with that walking or whatever action you choose, you're on the way and you're developing the most important factor, which is not the goal itself, but it's the consistency. So don't get trapped trying to find that perfect action. Find something and just be consistent in it. And as I finish this episode off, I want to say this too. Illness develops from what you consistently do as well. I'm a firm believer that everything has a cause, even if we don't necessarily understand what the cause is. But think about this. I think about how type 2 diabetes used to be considered like an adult disease, like a middle-aged or older adult disease, because it's taken a lot of time to develop, from a diet that's consistently been high in starches and sugars and causing the body to secrete a lot of insulin and all that kind of stuff. The crazy thing about this is that because of just the how horrible some of the food is that we eat, you're seeing this disease in kids now, type 2 diabetes. And so it used to take many years to develop, but because some of these foods are so bad, it's taken just a handful of years. But years nonetheless. I've heard that cancers tend to take 20 to 30 years to develop. Um, heart disease or kidney disease is cumulative damage over time to various blood vessels or related systems. Takes time to develop by consistently depriving the body of what it needs, by consistently assaulting the body, bombarding the body with various assaults. So keep that in mind too. However, I say that to say your body becomes what it develops by whatever you consistently do with it. So let that be an encouragement to you, and let that be something that empowers you to understand the power you have over your own health. All right, so let me let that be it. I hope this has been encouraging to you. I hope you comment. I want to hear what you have to say. Make sure you like this episode, share it with somebody to motivate them. Subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you look at the coaching and the Lean and Tone Online Fitness Challenge options that I have at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness. And that's pretty much it. Always remember that your doctor is not responsible for your health. You are. God bless you.